Hey guys, Mr. V over here, doing a book review today for The Killers of Flower Moon, The Osage Murders, and the Birth of the FBI by David Grann. Now, this is a nonfiction book that takes place in the 1920s, and what happens is it relates to the Osage tribe. The Osage tribe became a very wealthy tribe after they discovered oil below their land. But after they start to become very wealthy, people start getting killed off one by one. And that's what the book is about. So it is a very interesting book because it's a true crime book about how these people start getting killed off one by one. And the book starts off with a murder. It's a very interesting murder, what starts out, and then it's just followed by just a series of murders that follow it. And the only connection all of these people that are getting killed are is that they're all related to the Osage tribe. Like that's the only connection they have. And he goes, the author, he gives you the background to the Osage tribe, how they were and how they became wealthy. But then, after they become wealthy, they start getting killed off one by one. And they keep getting killed off randomly. Like some get poisoned, some get shot, some even get bombed. And so it's not even the same method that they're getting killed off. It doesn't even happen all at once. It takes place over time. I forget how long, but it doesn't happen all within like a week. It takes place over a longer time frame. And you start to wonder, like, what is the connection? They wonder, what is the connection? Because beyond just being part of the Osage tribe, like, there is no connection. So it's like, what is happening? So then the people of the tribe start to wonder, are we going to be killed next? Like, they start to get scared for obvious reasons. And I'll give you a slight spoiler. There is a connection. I mean, look at the title of the book. I think you can tell there is a connection. But there's a very calculated reason that this is happening. But that leads you to wonder, like, who is doing this? And why are they doing it? Is it other members of the tribe that's killing off their own people? Is it some outsider? But like, why? For both, why would it happen? Because it's just seemingly random. And even investigators that are investigating this start getting killed. So you wonder, who is doing this? And how are they killing off so many people without being caught? Like that at one point, they don't even have any leads because so many people are getting killed off. So you just start to wonder, like, how? How are they doing this and having all this power without being known? So it's just pretty crazy when you're reading it, and you just wonder when you're reading it, like, okay, how will they solve it? And they do solve it, but it's like, how will they solve it? And like, as it unfolds, it just feels like a fictional book. Like it keeps you on the edge of your seat when it's like another person gets murdered, and another gets murdered, and this is like, okay, and it's like someone investigating, and they get murdered, and it's just like, whoa, like. It's just kind of crazy, and that's why it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it feels fictional. And the book also shows the starting of the FBI, but let me warn you, that part is very brief. Like, it's not in depth about the FBI at all, because yes, it does relate to the Osage murder investigation a bit, but it is not anywhere near like the birth of the FBI type of thing, which I'll talk about a little more in the future. But the author does a great job of showing how that starts. But he also does a great job of showing what like local investigations were like in the 1920s and why we needed something like the FBI, why we needed something at the federal level, because the local investigations just were not good in those days. They didn't have official people doing it, so they didn't do a good job while doing it. They didn't take good pictures. They didn't do a good job of collecting evidence, and there was also corruption at different levels at the local level, which is why they needed a federal level. Why they needed people to come in who had no relation to anyone in the area to come in and start doing the investigation. And he goes a lot more in depth in the book and shows how they started. But again, remember, that part about the FBI is very, very brief. Another cool thing about this book is he included many, many pictures of the people he's talking about and the places he's talking about. So you get a much better understanding. You become a little more engaged when you're seeing the people and seeing the places. And one thing that was also cool, I thought, was he put them immediately in the chapter. He put the pictures immediately in the chapter. It's not like I think other people that read a lot of books, they know a lot of times they put the pictures at the center of the book, but he put it throughout the book. So it's like you didn't have to keep flipping to the center, and you didn't have to keep trying to reference it, anything like that. He just put the picture, whoever he's talking about, he immediately shows their picture, whatever place, he just immediately shows the place. So, I like that, and there was a lot of pictures in the book. So that was really cool for that. So there was a few things I didn't like about the book, though. One of the things was I felt that it was a semi-misleading title because, yes, it is about the Osage murders, but the birth of the FBI was very, very brief. It does link to it, and it was cool seeing how it linked to it, semi-linked to the birth of the FBI, but I felt that was a little bit misleading to say it in that fashion. So if you're looking for the founding of the FBI, this is really not the book for you. Like, that would not be that. I think you'd be upset if you look for that specifically. The other thing was, I wasn't a fan of the last section of the book. There's many sections of the book. The last section I wasn't a fan of because the Osage murders, they get solved, but there were still some parts that may have been slightly unsolved, or there were some parts that were unsolved, not slightly, sorry. But there were some parts that were unsolved, but the last section goes to where like a reporter is talking to some of the family members in 2009, 2010, 2012, and the reporter starts to link some things. I think that section could have been shortened. I think that part could have been shortened a lot. But another part, as I said, the main parts got solved, but there were some parts that were unsolved. So when the reporter starts trying to do it later, it's somewhat unconclusive because it's over 100 years later, and it was not too well documented to some of the things he's trying to link. Even the reporter who was writing part of the book states how he didn't like drawing these conclusions because he couldn't question the people that he was like trying to get the documents of and all that. He's talking to like their like great grandkids. So that's why it was a little part, like the last part, I was not a fan of that last part. But overall, with the exception of the last part, I still thought that this was a very interesting book. It was very easy to read in terms of the length is not very long, so it's a very easy to read. Like, you could probably read it within just a few days. And I recommend this for people who are interested in history or want to know things about like true crime, because it was a great job for true crime, as that was a very interesting case. Because you do wonder, okay, like, why is this happening? Who's doing it? And how it gets solved. So if you're interested in that, I'd recommend that book. If you guys want to see more book reviews like when you saw today, hit the subscribe button, as I always upload multiple different types of book reviews. If you have any questions or you have any comments, post it in the comments section below, because I always love hearing your opinions. But thank you for watching my book review today. This is Mr. V. Go enjoy your reading.